Okay, so in this lesson, what you've been asked to do is to solve an algebra fraction. So what you're trying to do, you're trying to actually work out what is the value of x. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So basically you're trying to solve for x. So let's look at these two examples and let's try and work out what the value of x is. So the first thing what you do is, so if we have a look at this one here, let me just select this here. So what we have is we have an algebra fraction and it's equal to a value. You have this equal sign here. So that means, and what you've been asked to do is you've been asked to solve for x. So the first thing we have to do is we have to get rid of the fraction. So what we want to do is the first thing we do is so see the way we have 6 on its own. So we write 6 as a fraction, and 6 as a fraction is going to be 6 over 1. So you just put it over 1 like so. And now what you want to do is you want to look at these two numbers and you want to identify the lowest common multiple. So the lowest common multiple for these two numbers. So if we take the number 3, okay, so the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12. And then the multiples of 1 are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so these are the multiples of 4. So we can see then, looking at this, the lowest common multiple is this number here, is 3. So we can see then that the lowest common multiple for these two denominators is 3. So now what we want to do is we want to get rid of the fractions. And how do we do that? We multiply everything by the lowest common multiple. So for example, I multiply this. So I multiply this fraction here, and then I multiply this fraction here. And what that enables me to do then, it enables me to divide the bottom denominator into it. Okay, so this will cancel out with this. Okay, or it goes into it one time, and then 1 multiplied by 2x is just 2x. And then 1 into 3 goes 3 times, and then 3 sixes is 6 and 6 is 12, and 6 is 18, so it's equal to 18. And now what I can do is I can just divide both sides by 2. Let's divide that by 2, and then x is going to be equal. X is equal to 9. Okay, so that's that one. So let's have a look at this one. So again, we want to get rid of the fraction. So what we want to do is we want to look at each of these numbers at the bottom. So 3, 4, and 4. So 3 and 4. And we want to get the multiples of 3. Okay, so we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And then we want to get the multiples of 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And we can see then we identify the lowest common multiple. So the lowest common multiple is 12. So now what we do is we multiply every fraction by this lowest common multiple of 12, and that enables us to get rid of the fraction, or to divide the bottom part of the fraction into it. So I want to multiply this by 12, I want to multiply this by 12, and I want to multiply this by 12. Okay, so 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. Okay, and then I'm multiplying this 4 by 2x minus 1. So 4 times 2x gives me 8x. And 4 times minus 1 gives me minus 4. Okay, and then we're going to have 4 divided into that goes once. 4 into 12 goes 3 times. And then 3 multiplied by x gives me, so plus 3x. And then we have 4 goes into that once, and 4 goes into 12 3 times. Okay, and then 3 multiplied by 6 gives me 6 and 6 is 12, 18. Okay, so it looks something like that. And now what we have here, you can see that we have this extended expression, so we want to add up the like terms. So if we take 8x and 3x, we add the two of them together, that's going to be 11x minus 4. is equal to 18. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to get rid of the 4 on each side. So we have to add 4 here and add 4 here. Okay, these will cancel out, and 11x is going to be equal to 18 plus 4, which is equal to 22. And then we want to divide both sides by 11. And x then is going to be equal to 22 divided by 11, which is equal to 2. Okay, so x is equal to 2, so that's our answer. So that's basically how to solve what's called solving algebra fractions. So let's have a look at this one then. So this again we're asked to solve. In this case we can see that the algebra part is on the denominator. So what we have to do is we have to find the lowest common multiple for these guys here. So let's have a look and give this a go. Okay, so what we do is we work out, so what is the lowest common multiple? So we want to draw a line across here, and the lowest common multiple is going to be the 3 of these guys. Okay, so it's going to be x plus 3 by x by 2. Okay, so this is going to be the lowest common multiple. When you have the algebra parts at the bottom, the lowest common multiple is this. So now what we do is we do exactly the same thing. So we take this x plus 3 and we divide it into this. So x plus 3 divided into this will just cancel out the x plus 3, and it will leave us with x times 2. So it's going to be x times 2, okay, times the top part, which is 5. Sorry, we should actually do it like this. Let me just get rid of this here for 1 second. So we do it like this. So it's going to be, so the lowest common multiple of these 3 is going to be the 3 of these together. Okay, so if we take, so the lowest common multiple is going to be x plus 3 by x by 2. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. So what we want to do is we want to multiply each of these by this term. Okay, so if we take this top part here, we're going to multiply the whole lot by x plus 3 by x by 2. So if we take that then and multiply it, then this is going to cancel out. So this will cancel. So this here will cancel out with this, and we'll be left with 5 times x by 2. Okay, so it looks something like that. Okay, so that'll cancel out, and it'll just leave us with this fraction here. So then if we multiply this by this, it's going to be minus. Okay, the x will cancel out with the x here, and we'll be left with x plus 3 by 2 by 1. Okay, or we'll do, so it's going to be 1. So 1 multiplied by x plus 3 multiplied by 2. Okay, so it looks something like that, is equal to, and then if we multiply this by this expression here, the 2 will cancel out with the 2, and we'll be left with 1 multiplied by x plus 3 multiplied by x. Okay, so it looks something like that. So what we're doing is we're taking each of these fractions here and we're multiplying it by this whole thing here. And then what happens then is this bottom part cancels out with it. So now what we want to do is we have an extended expression, so we want to simplify it. So 5 times x times 2, that's going to leave us with 10x. Minus 1 times x leaves us with minus x. Minus 1 times 3 leaves us with minus 3. So it's going to be minus x minus 3. And then, so minus x and minus 3 multiplied by 2 is going to leave us with minus 2x. Let me just change this. So it's going to leave us with, so minus 1 by x gives us minus x, minus 1 by 3 gives us minus 3, 2 by minus x gives us minus 2x. and 2 by minus 3 is going to give us minus 6 is equal to x squared plus 3x. Okay, so now what we can see is we can turn this into what's called a quadratic equation. So what we want to do is we want to simplify this on the left. So x squared minus 2x gives us 8x minus 6 is equal to x squared plus 3x. So now what we want to do is we want to turn this into a quadratic equation. So we want to bring all the x's over this side. So we have 8x here. So we want to minus 8x from here, minus 8x from here. Okay, so that's going to leave us with minus 6 is equal to x squared. 3x minus 8x gives us minus 5x. And now we want to get rid of the 6 on this side, so we plus 6 here and plus 6 here. And that's going to leave us, I'm just going to bring this up here so I have some space. It's going to leave us with, so minus x plus x is just 0. So it's going to be x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, so now we have a quadratic. So again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve for x. So what I want to do is I want to use my brackets. So brackets here. So I want to get the factors of x. So the factors of x are x by x. Okay, and then I want to get the factors of factor pairs for plus 6. So we have 2 multiplied by 3, and we have 1 multiplied by 6. Okay, and then we have minus 1 multiplied by minus 6. Okay, and then we have minus 2 multiplied by minus 3. Okay, so what we want to do is, so the x and x is going to give us the x squared, so the x by x. And what we want to do is we want to decide which of these, so when we add or subtract them from each other, will give us this minus 5x. So if I take 2x and 3x and add them together, or subtract them, it's not going to give us minus 5x, so it's not these guys. If I do the same with this, it's not going to be either of these either. If I take minus 1 and if I add these together or subtract them from each other, it's not going to give us minus 5x, so it's not these. So it can only be these, minus 2 plus minus, so minus 2 and minus 3 will give us minus 5. So we can do it like this, so minus 2, minus 3. So these are the factor pairs, these are the factors for this quadratic here. So now what I can do is I can let these equal to 0, and then I can solve for x. Okay, so I can let both of them then equal to 0. So you have x minus 2 is equal to 0, and you have x minus 3 is equal to 0. So now what I want to do is I want to add 2 on both sides. So you're going to get x is equal to 2, and then here we want to add 3 on both sides. So x is equal to 3. Okay, and that's our answer. So it's asking you to solve for x. So that's what we want to do. We've solved for x here. So again, it's a little bit involved, but it's exactly the same process that we followed for the other one as well. So we want to solve for x. So in this case, we have the algebra terms on the bottom, or as the denominator. So you get the lowest common multiple of these. So it's just going to be the 3 of these multiplied by each other like that. Then you multiply each term by this value, and that enables you to cancel out. Okay, so for example, this x plus 3 will cancel out with this x plus 3, and then it's going to be the top part multiplied by the remainder, which is 5 times x, 5 by x by 2, and then we do the same here. So x divided by this will cancel out this x, and it'll leave us with 1 multiplied by x plus 3 multiplied by 2. Okay, that's that, and then we do this, so 2 divided by this will cancel out this 2, and it'll leave us with x plus 3 by x by 1. And that's what that is. So you have an extended expression, so then you multiply these out. Then you simplify, and then we turn this then into a quadratic, and then we factorize using the factorization method for quadratics. And that is that. So what you've been asked to do is just to solve, you've taken an algebra fraction and you're just solving for the value of x. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, and thank you for listening.